In this video, I'm going to take a look at probably one of the best examples in MMA of using kinetic chains, torque and relaxation to generate power rather than just brute force. Now, if you guys don't already know, the keys to power in your punch is using your kinetic chains. And there's phases to a punch that I've borrowed from the punch doctrine. That's load, explode, accelerate and follow through. And you can have prerequisites that help you with this. So if you're naturally wider, if you have broad shoulders, you generate more torque, so you have more power. If you have strong muscles in your waist and they're wide, you will generate more rotational power. If you have a good resting muscle tone, if you're relaxed, this will help you whip your punch rather than forcing it and making it stiff. So if we take a look at this finish in Cage Warriors, which I've slowed down, we can see as he slips, he's loaded on his left leg and that hip's violently accelerated and the arm hasn't moved yet. The hips move forward and now the rest of the body is going to whip through using the kinetic chains in his body. And as that whips through, it's going to then whip his arm, which is still relaxed until he makes contact with the jaw. If you go back again one more time, that hip's already rotated. Now it's the arm and then the punch follows through. And at this point, it's all about the follow through. With a knockout punch like that, you don't need to snap it back to your chin or anything. And we see right after the punch, relaxed again. Loaded off the slip onto his back, onto his rear leg. Then explodes off the ground, driving through the hips, using the glute and the hips. Exploding off the glute and the hips rotate. And then the arm whips, powered by the rotation. You don't use your shoulder muscle, you don't rotate in one stiff line. If you take a look at this finish, even the kick there off the hip, you got a whip, which I'm going to make a video on soon. Nice wide stance. A wider stance gives you more power in your backhand. It's further away, so it takes longer to reach your target, but you have more power in it, so it becomes more of a sniper. You can't just spam your backhand. This is why when you see wide stances in boxing, they don't use that right hand and just throw it out a lot. You're waiting and you're timing. You got to use your timing and rhythm. And then a lot of these traditional arts like karate, the reason a lot of the arts stand so wide is their focus, like in shotgun karate, is to finish the fight in one punch. So they come in right hand off a timing, off a bounce. And then over here, pushes off that rear leg, weight transfers to the front leg, hip rotates, and a punch whips through. It's like you're throwing a ball. If you guys need to, I've made a video on this, how to whip your punch. You really wanna, before training or just now and then, just really relax your whole body, just bounce in your stance and just throw, like shadow throwing a ball, or go to a park and just get a ball or find something on the ground and just throw it, relax, whipping your foot. Don't think about pivoting your foot. That's a big mistake. Your foot is gonna pivot by itself. Think about whipping your hip and seeing how your body feels when you hip or when you whip it. Is your lead shoulder rotating by itself, or is it still staying too far front, which reduces your reach and your rotation? Let your upper body be relaxed and your shoulders. Don't even think about using your shoulder in a punch, and just let your hip rotate your body and all your kinetic chains be in use, and that hand is just gonna let it be relaxed. And then as you keep throwing your arm, both stances, then start making it into a punch. So keep it tighter. Start when you're whipping, when you're rotating, or you're throwing the imaginary ball or whatnot. Now start making a punch, and then practice where you have a follow through on the punch and you don't snap it back, and then start practicing really sharp, crisp versions of your punch, where as soon as you reach your target, you come back, because not every punch you want to shadow box is going to be a knockout punch. And then you want to do that on one shot and two shot combinations off your jab, or off your 1-2s. See how you can do on your hooks and uppercuts. Then you add your footwork, your kicks, you're moving around. And then you can play little proby shots where you're just using your arms, and then boom, your proper punches where you're using your kinetic chains and going and whipping them. Another great example right here. Just pressing with the lead hand, a classic open stance, just hand fighting, moving that backhand, hand fighting, and a lot of times throwing a lead hook just to throw your backhand. And we see here nice and wide, almost like it's gonna throw a javelin or something, like you're hunting back in the day. Exploded, rotated. Weight is now on the lead leg. It's transferring to the lead leg. And that was really fast. That was a proper, like, he's throwing a spear. And you see how the arm just drops after. It's because this is so relaxed. Upon impact, you make the fist, but you just let your punch follow through, which just adds that devastating power. Now, you can't do this for every punch. Like, say you start the fight, if you throw a punch like this and you don't knock them out, they're not already a bit wobbly, you're going to get caught. You can't. We saw Mauricio Hufi against BSD. He was basically trying to do this early. He was giving up top position. He wasn't using his lead hand in close stance, not using his jab, and just trying to overfarm by landing a backhand shot like this. You can't always do that unless you're already dominating. You've conditioned them, you've broken them down, you've timed it well. But when you are going for that knockout shot, a lot of times you're not going to throw a crisp shot and just tag their chin and come back. You got to follow through and make sure when you whip that punch, it goes all the way through. But it's a lovely angle right here. See that rotation, lovely rotation. Hips rotated and the arm's still going. And you see, look at his lead shoulder, still going back, getting full reach, full rotation. This way you can punch where they can't touch you, and you're also getting more rotational power, also known as torque. And if you're already naturally got broader shoulders, you have more torque, which does make your punches harder to actually throw because of inertia, which is why you got to train your punches and train your strength so you can resist that inertia. And it also makes it a bit long to bring back. That's why you see a lot of long arm fighters, when they're whipping their punches, they don't always bring it right back because it's quite tiring to do so. Like, personally, I find it quite tiring when I'm punching to just always bring my shots back. So you're relying on footwork, waist movement to come back, fade backs, slipping off and then getting an angle. But you gotta have good cardio and make sure you don't get found out. Even here against it's a missed shot, hips rotated and punch then goes after. And then a knockout shot, violently rotate the hips, which then rotates your torso, which then rotates your shoulders, and then the arm just goes. You don't force it. Trust me, when you guys start, if you guys feel like you're not getting power, you're probably forcing your punches, just pivoting your foot, trying to push through the bag and the pads. Once you start punching like this, trust me, pad work's going to feel so good. You're going to hit the pads and it's going to, especially if you've got someone who can actually hold pads properly and it's giving you the feedback, it's the best feeling ever. And when you do land this shot in sparring, land punches like this in sparring, it just feels good. And this iconic one, bouncing, rhythm, baiting him in, bounces back, planted, this time on his rear leg. Now from that plant, it's elastic, it's springy. Plants, explodes off. You see that hips rotated, and he doesn't need to do a complete full spin. You see his feet are much closer together because he's focused more on coming back and countering, letting Aldo make the movement for him, letting Aldo close the distance. Him coming in forward is adding that power, that car crash effect. So he doesn't need to hit so hard, and like the earlier punches against Dennis Silva, where he's having to, with his wide base, throwing that shot. The hips have already turned, which then turns the shoulders. Everything's lagging like dominoes, like a whip. And then right accuracy, boom, plant. And then everything just follows in order. Hips, torso, shoulders, fist. Not at the same time. You guys are probably starting to get it now. And you need to do this until it's in your nervous system. You see here, even on this missed shot, hips go and then that just whips the torso and then the arm. And you see that arm just goes. And if you see it in, without me pausing, you can see how whippy it is. Now it might not be your style to always punch like this. You see the way he just lets his hand go. Maybe it's because you don't have the longest arms and you're better just being in the pocket. But your understanding of kinetic chains, trust me, even in the pocket, it's like that. It looks effortless, but right here, look, it looks like he's not even trying. But when you're utilizing your kinetic chains properly, when you're accurate, when you're whipping your punches, hips and then arm, hips, torso and then arm. And then here is just, everything's loading each other. That one specifically at the end. And to do it at this speed, in a combination on your last shot, especially when a lot of times during combination you stiffen up and tighten up, is world class. Right there, if I pause again, I want to go just off that. You see, the arm's back, okay, which it's stretched all those muscles, okay, the cross-body chains or kinetic chains, it's stretched. Then, it's nice and stretched, right? Just like when you're going to throw something and you're here, this is all stretch. You don't throw from here, right? Like a shot put. You really bring your arm back, which is why you see a lot of the best punchers, when they do get the knockouts, they don't punch like from here. Well, you know, you might be taught, okay, don't telegraph. Most knockout shots are telegraphed. It's just so well timed, too accurate, that there's nothing you can do about it. That doesn't mean every shot you throw like that, because you might not be fast enough. It will be telegraphed, and then you're going to reveal what you're trying to do to your opponent. Now here, the hip hasn't moved yet. The arm's gone back and stretched. The whole of his left side, the rear side, is stretched. Hip's gone forward and arm's still going. Hasn't reached the target yet. It's all very quick. Too quick for me to pause on YouTube. I probably should have downloaded the video. Right here. The hips have turned again. And the punch, it's like a missile going through. You guys are probably familiar with this. Loaded, leant back like Mayweather, fades back. Loaded his rear leg and opened up his torso. Hips turned, arm still hasn't gone. Fist still hasn't reached the target. Now his lead leg is loaded. As he shifts back, you see that off his rear hip and rear torso, bit stretched, throws the shot, and then the speed of this. Now once he's thrown that right shot, once he's thrown the shot of his right hand and he's angled off, his weight's now gone a bit more into his rear leg. And you see that whole left side of his body's open up and stretched, ready for him to throw his left shot over Alvarez's shoulder. The hips accelerated there. Now arm's gonna move. Beautiful stuff. And you look here, nice good base. Loaded his legs. You see he's dipped down to then explode. Hips rotate. Then torso. Then arm. This is done at very high speed. If you watch it in full time, you'll see that the speed difference. And then that shot after is also nice and loose. What can we take from seeing these strikes? We see that a lot of these fighters who are knockout artists have an element of relaxation, looseness, and more importantly, utilizing their kinetic chains and actually whipping their punch. They don't move in one, they're not stiff, rotating all at once. They first load, whether they've dipped down or they're already in a wide base, like we see Conor at 145. Then they explode using their hips and glutes, which rotates their body in order. The hip rotation allows your waist to rotate, which then allows your upper torso to rotate, which then rotates your shoulder, where you get that torque. And then from there, it whips your arm forward. Your arm travels through, relaxed. As soon as you make impact, you stiffen, you tighten your fist, which then gives that whip-like effect. And then all that power, all that momentum is concentrated in your fist. And then once you made contact, you let it follow through, relax again for your next shot. If you want to go more, if you want more details on this, you can watch my video on how to whip your punches. I'd recommend you watch more of Conor, Roy Jones Jr., Mayweather, Muhammad Ali, Deontay Wilder, Topuria's finishes, Mike Tyson. Different styles as well, because they all utilize kinetic chains properly. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment what other videos you would like me to make, and I'll see you in the next one.